Well, the trade wars have begun. This is an article from last week on Zero Hedge, and it's about Canada retaliating for the tariffs that the Trump administration has imposed. Now, my ideology is economics. I've explained many times that I am neither a Republican nor a Democrat, and it's funny, when I talk about taxation and government spending and so on, Democrats will accuse me of being a Republican, and when I talk about things like the bad economics of some of Donald Trump's policies here, this being one of them, I get accused of being a Democrat, and I am neither. I just believe in economics and trying to bring maximum prosperity to all of mankind. That is the goal here. And what I see is the same stupid mistakes being repeated over and over and over again. In economics, it is already proven that this is a bad idea. Basically, when you impose tariffs, the country that you're imposing tariffs on is going to try and get back at you, and it's a case of an eye for an eye making the whole world blind. We all get poorer, and it hurts all of us. So the Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada exclaimed his indignance at the Trump's administration's decision to impose tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum imports, and he says it's totally unacceptable. And he said that Canada is a secure supplier of metals to the U.S. military. And we also, this is the interesting part, the U.S. has a $2 billion trade surplus with Canada. So we actually sell them more steel than they sell us, yet we're imposing tariffs on their steel that's coming into the country to try and protect American jobs, they say. Now, you can prove in economics that what happens is both sides end up getting poorer for this. Now, I don't know if we've already done the tariffs that were proposed on Canadian timber imports to protect our lumber industry here in the United States, but basically, if an industry is being subsidized by a government like Canada has immense resources when it comes to wood. They've got a lot of trees up there, a whole lot more trees than they have human population. So they've got a surplus of wood, and the industry is subsidized by the government. And so that means that their lumber imports from Canada, the wood is cheaper, and it hurts American jobs in the lumber industry because it's hard for them to compete against this subsidized timber that's coming in. And so the argument is that we're supposed to protect the few 100,000 jobs, that if we stop this Canadian lumber, Americans will have to buy the American lumber, but they don't see the other side of the equation, that Canadian lumber makes all of our houses cheaper. Canadian taxpayers are kicking in on your house. They're kicking in on the furniture that you buy. Anything that contains wood is being subsidized by Canadian taxpayers. And so if another country can create something that's less expensive, the market should go there, and we get to buy the stuff much cheaper. Now, I know I'm going to get a whole bunch of flack on that, but then we are supposed to find the things that we do better than they can do. And don't forget that when a government subsidizes something, they have to tax productive businesses and individuals, and then they have to run it through the government system, losing some of that economic energy, the purchasing power. And then they're going to subsidize the thing and export it, giving them an export edge, but actually it's the person on the other side receiving the goods that gets the benefit. They have just harmed their country by doing the subsidies and taking away from the private sector so that they can get a few more jobs in this sector. China does it too, and everybody's all upset because China has these trade advantages, but we get to buy all this stuff very cheaply, and when you take a look at it, it's a wealth transfer from their citizens to our citizens. Anyway, their Minister of Foreign Affairs says there's going to be a dollar-for-dollar tariffs for every dollar levied against Canada by the U.S. And then there's a list here of, they've got whiskey, orange juice, and other food products as well as steel and aluminum. So there's a list of items that include a 25% tariff. Now, that means that all of these items at wholesale are going to go up 25% in Canada. And so that means at retail, they're going to be like 40, 50%, you got to put a profit margin on whatever the cost is to stay in business. And so all of these items, what's going to happen is, yes, there will be more Canadian jobs because the cost of living in Canada is going to go way up because of these items. And, Trump thinks we're going to get a few more jobs at home. The cost is never worth the jobs created. And then 10% on the following items, and here's another list of all the different items that come from the U.S. that they're going to impose. So we're going to sell them less stuff. They're going to sell us less stuff, and everything is going to be more expensive. And so, and it's also, they've been talking about a proposed NAFTA agreement, and it looks like this is going to impact that. So says Goldman Sachs. So that's it for this video. I just wanted to let you know the trade wars have begun. We're going to be doing this with China. All this does is it makes everybody poorer on both sides. When some other country wants to slow its own growth down, its own economic energy, when they want to tax their citizens for the benefit of some other country, which is what they do when they subsidize an industry, we get this stuff cheaper. Our cost of living goes down. Let them do it. Eventually they'll wake up and figure out how dumb it is. So this thing, though, whenever a government taxes imports and tries to close its borders to protect jobs, it just slows down worldwide GDP and everybody suffers. Thank you very much for listening. If you got anything from this, please like it, share it, and we'll see you next time.